I'm Will Whalen with Spectrum Enterprises. I'm happy to announce we've released our 2020 Forms package. The 2020 Forms package is available for download from our website. The new Forms package includes a new form, updated forms, just in time for 2021. The new form is the Over-Income Clarification Form. This will be used to address households that go over the income limit at their first annual certification. The completion of this form, along with supporting documentation, will show whether or not the increase could have been anticipated at move-in. The top portion of this form records the tenant name, unit, move-in date, recertification date, household income at move-in, the income limit at move-in, household income at first annual certification, income limit at first annual certification. The second section of this form is a text box to record the explanation for the increase in income. In this box, you will want to record the dates for the event or events that caused the increase. Remember that you need to show that the increase could not have been anticipated at move-in. The bottom text box on this form is where you provide the list of supporting documentation. Be sure to highlight areas on supporting documentation that pertain to the increase in income. Also include the calculations used to arrive at the income totals on the TIC. These calculations should be recorded on the certification worksheet. Be sure to show full calculations. The total times 1 will no longer suffice. If including calculator tape, be sure the tape is legible and that it does not block any portion of any LIHTC form or supporting document. Also, be sure the full calculation is listed on both the calculator tape and the certification worksheet. And finally, the bottom portion of the form is where the tenant certifies to the truth and accuracy of the information recorded on the over-income clarification form. Where should you place this form in your file? The best place to put this form, along with its supporting documentation, is in the file just after the TIC. By having this form and supporting documentation in the file just after the TIC, you are providing the clarification the auditor needs to see that the increase in income could not have been anticipated at move-in. We updated the application. Beginning in the middle of page 2, our application is now numbered from 1 to 93. This will make it easier for auditors and managers to report missing, incomplete, or inaccurate information by simply referring to the line number. We updated the Household Eligibility Questionnaire, and this update comes from you, our LIHTC community, so thank you for your input. We added a date line next to the tenant's signature on page 3. The do's and don'ts of the certification worksheet. Do: show your work, show your work, and show your work. Here we can see that Hank Rollins has a job making $15 an hour, 40 hours a week, 52 weeks of the year. This shows us how you arrived at your income total of $31,200. Even if this calculation exists elsewhere in the file, record the complete calculation here on the certification worksheet. Remember to show your work, always show your work, and if you forget, show your work. The don't. Do not list the total times 1. That is not a sufficient calculation of income. That does not tell us how you arrived at the total of $31,200. Remember, it's a worksheet, so show your work, and you see where I'm going with this, show your work. The interview checklist. The purpose of this form is to document any changes in income and/or household composition since the application was submitted. This should be completed with the tenant prior to move-in to give staff the time to verify any additional income and/or assets before moving the tenant into the unit. Do not leave any blanks on this form. Use NA for anything that does not apply to the household. Page 3 of the interview checklist. On the top of page 3, the questions regarding income from the previous year and how it differs from the current year are almost always left blank. When interviewing your applicant, do not skip these questions. Remember, do not leave blanks on any LIHTC form. The recertification update form. The purpose of this form is to document any changes in income or household composition since the previous annual certification. This should be completed prior to the recertification date to give the staff time to verify any additional income and/or assets. Do not leave blanks on this form. Use NA for anything that does not apply to the household. Page 2 of the recertification update. On the bottom of page 2, the questions regarding income from the previous year and how it differs from the current year are almost always left blank. When interviewing the tenant, do not skip these questions. When completing the recert update at the first annual certification, this is the first place where you will document the reason the household income went over the income limit at the first annual certification. This is what will trigger the use of the over-income clarification form. The life insurance verification. On the life insurance verification, the dividend interest rate column should never be left blank. A whole life insurance policy has the potential to increase in value. There should always be a numerical value in this column. Year-to-date on the employment verification. When you receive a completed employment verification, always check the start date for the gross year-to-date. Often, an employer will list January 1st as a start date for the first pay period of the year. This is incorrect. Pay periods never begin on New Year's Day or any holiday for that matter. If you see January 1st listed as a start date, reach out to the employer to get the actual start date for the pay period. Remember that the year-to-date amount could end up being the most conservative income calculation, so you want to make sure it's accurate. Other updated forms. We have also made some minor updates to the custody and child support affidavit, the employment verification form, and the marital status affidavit. Reminders. Blank does not equal no. Blanks on forms creates more work for the site staff and headaches for the auditor. Be sure your applicants and tenants are answering all questions on all LIHTC forms. If a question does not apply, have them put NA next to it. Never use whiteout on any LIHTC document, form, affidavit, or clarification record. Instead of whiteout, draw a line through the incorrect information and then write the correct information next to it. When it comes to calculations, remember what I said, show your work, and lastly, show your work. On the under 5K asset cert, when listing asset amounts, use NA for non-existing assets. Never use zero, as zero indicates a zero balance in an existing account. And again, blank does not equal no. The 2020 forms package can be found on our website at www.spectrumlihtc.com. Forms is the 5th tab over from the Spectrum logo. State-specific forms can be accessed through our state monitoring section. This section is for American Samoa, California, Connecticut, Hawaii, Massachusetts, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. All forms are available for use free of charge. Just be sure to get approval from the owner and/or your management company. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy the 2020 forms package.